Hey guys, this is Anthony with the Xbox Boomer channel, and welcome to episode 10 of the Xbox Boomer Project. Yay! We're in double digits. Woo! Um, so this is, if you haven't watched this before, this is an audio only format. Okay, so think of this as an audio show or podcast, something like that. You can throw it on in the background while you're driving or while you're getting ready for work or whatever you're doing. But if you don't want to see, some kind of content that doesn't have video behind it, just go ahead and click off of this video now. But yeah, with that being said, today we're talking about Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock for the Xbox 360. So I did beat this game, several months ago, here in 2024, and I'll just tell you out the gates, I had a freaking blast with this game. We'll go into all the reasons and what this game is if you've never played Guitar Hero before. But this game was an absolute treat to go back to and play. But I did want to say, just starting out. This is a spoiler-free review as well. So, there's not much story to this game, but I'm not going to spoil anything major. So, while I might reference like some of the song names and things like that, and some of the gameplay mechanics, I'm not going to ruin the little bit of story that is in this game. So you can rest assured, knowing that, after watching this video or listening to it, you can go out and buy this game and have fun with it. Um, but so I'm holding in my hands here, I have a copy of Guitar Hero 3 for the Xbox 360, complete in box. So this game, it runs. I probably bought this about a year ago. The game disc itself, just in like the regular game case with the cover art and the manual, it runs about $15 if you buy it like on eBay. I'd say it's somewhere between $12, USD, American money, and $15. So it's not a very expensive game. However, there is an added fee to this game. And we're gonna get into that in just a few minutes here. Um, but the game does have a it's not a terribly small manual. If you're a collector out there looking for this stuff, if you're looking for the complete in box games and all that, but the manual is in black and white, if that matters to you. So there's not much substance in the manual of this game. Um, but yeah, so this game, if you're not familiar with it, like I said, it's Guitar Hero 3, so it's the third entry in the Guitar Hero series. And this is categorized as being a rhythm game. And so, how it works is that back in the day, so like the early 2000s, so if you think about, maybe like the late end of the PlayStation 2 era, and the beginning of the Xbox 360 era of video games, there were a lot of these rhythm games that were coming out, and they were very, very popular with the children. Kids anywhere aged from like 7 years old to like 15 years old, and even probably older. Playing these damn rhythm games, and all these different companies that made these rhythm games, like the company who made Guitar Hero, which I think Guitar Hero 3 is made by Neversoft, developed by them, it looks like, and then looks like it was published by Activision. But these companies, they basically would sell bundle packs with their Xbox game or their PlayStation game, PlayStation 2 or 3 or Xbox 360, and it would come bundled with a plastic instrument. And so all the rhythm games, that's how you kind of play the game, or that's how the game was designed to be played. And again, we'll talk about this as it comes up here in a few minutes. Um, but Guitar Hero, is kind of what started it all. So Guitar Hero 1 came out on the PlayStation 2. And I did not have that game growing up, but a lot of my friends did because a lot of my friends grew up with the PlayStation 2. and it was an absolute phenomenon. Like, I mean, every kid back in the day had Guitar Hero or wanted Guitar Hero. I mean, it was a freaking craze like you've never seen before. And a lot of these instruments, like I said, Guitar Hero is pretty much how the game series started. Was that you would use this plastic guitar, to basically play the notes of the songs that were on the screen. So it doesn't translate to real guitar skills. So like let's say you get really good with this plastic instrument that you bought with your video game, you're not gonna be like a guitar maestro, going over your girlfriend's house and singing her tunes. But you're still gonna, I mean, it's not like playing with a standard video game controller. It's like a totally different experience. And like I said, I'm saving some of this here for just a minute. Um, but uh, but yeah, Guitar Hero. Um, this game came out in 2007, Guitar Hero 3. And, I was a young kid back then, and I really, really wanted this frickin' game when it came out. Um, and back then, I did have a PlayStation 2. So, the first Guitar Hero game I played and that I had was the second Guitar Hero game. And, I got that for my PlayStation 2. My parents bought me the white and the black. I don't know what guitar model it was, but it was some special guitar model on eBay, and I got the game and I just played the crap out of it. I mean, I was a little headbanging kid back in the day. So I loved classic rock music like AC/DC and Metallica and Guns N' Roses. And, Guitar Hero 2 had all those bands just chocked full in there. A lot of bands similar to those. Um, and I knew Guitar Hero 3 was coming out because, a lot of advertisements were out for it. And I remember on Christmas, I was able to, unwrap a copy of Guitar Hero 3 for my PlayStation 2. And I even ran to my room right after I unwrapped it, and I popped that bad boy in there, and I already had the guitar for the second game, so I plugged that guitar into my PlayStation 2, and I was just jamming over and over again. Um, and my mom was you know, with this stepdad at the time that I had, that I didn't get along with as a kid. And I remember I pissed him off because one of the first songs in the game is a song that you might have heard on the radio called "Slow Ride." It's a song by the band Foghat from the 1970s. It's that song that if you haven't, don't know the name, it's like slow ride down, down, na 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 na, take it easy. And that's the song. You probably heard it in like a damn, skateboarding movie or something, or a crime movie on TV. It's a very popular rock song. And I played that song on my TV, like, the night I got the game over and over, like, 10 times in a row. And my stepdad at the time was like, "If you play Slow Ride one more time," and he meant it, he's like, "I'm gonna come down the hall and whoop your ass," because he was tired of listening to Slow Ride, but that guy was a fucking asshole. But that's aside from the point. Um Anyways, yeah, so if I haven't mentioned, like I said, I had the PlayStation 2 copy. So it did come out on the PS2, which I would say nowadays is your most inferior version of this game, just because of the graphical quality, and then the also the Guitar Hero controllers, the actual guitars. As far as I know, all of the PlayStation 2 models are wired, so you have to have an actual cable running to your system in order to use that. There is a PS3 copy of this game, which I have no experience with, but it is out there if you are a PS3 owner. There's the 360 version, this version, which I played this time around. And I will say that, spoilers ahead, I guess. Not really a spoiler, but um, the Xbox 360 version, in my opinion, is going to be the definitive way to play Guitar Hero 3. Just plain and simple, it's very smooth because it runs very well on the 360. There's no skipping, there's no delay in hitting the notes, nothing like that. And the graphics are significantly better. And then on top of that, for the 360 version, which some of the like the PlayStation 2 version especially, I'm referring to, the 360 version, if you wanted to play with the Guitar Hero guitar controller, they're all wireless. Unless you had a wired version from Guitar Hero 2, you can be all the way across your house with this damn, wireless guitar controller, and you can be jamming out, and it'll still work on your Xbox from like the next room over. So that's really, really nice, on the 360 version. Now there is a Wii version, and I did play the Wii version back in the day, and I do have a story about that. Um, but the Wii version for Guitar Hero 3, it's also inferior to the 360 because the graphics are just not up to par. There's differences between the Wii and the 360, obviously, because the 360 had a lot better hardware in it. And I will say the one interesting thing about the Wii version, if you were considering getting that, is that you have to put your actual Wiimote, which is just a little Wii controller, blah, and you have to fit that inside a groove in the Guitar Hero controller to get it to work. And so, you put your standard Wii controller in there in this little slot, and as far as I know, which I haven't played this in a very long time on the Wii, but as far as I know, there is feedback that it's like a rumble feature within the guitar through your Wiimote when you play this game on the Wii. And that's a feature that the 360 does not have. So when you play with any of the guitar controllers on the 360, there's no vibration, there's no like rumble feature. It's just clicking the buttons and playing the game. So I thought that was cool. And then there's also a Mac version of this game and a PC version, for Windows. And I don't have experience with either one of those, but they are out there. Um, Now as far as like memories, I already told you about getting this game. But I was a kid when this game came out. I mean, I don't know if I was quite how young I was, but I definitely wasn't in high school yet. I remember that. I was definitely younger than high school age. And Guitar Hero 3, it spread like the plague in my school. I mean, every young boy and every young girl was playing this damn game. And back in the day, I had a crush on this girl named Stephanie, and, I mean, I was just drooling over this girl in school, right? And, had a crush on her. And as a kid, I sucked at talking to girls, I couldn't relate to her on anything. I couldn't impress her with anything, as a kid, because, you're always trying to look cool and stuff and macho. And I found out that this girl loved Guitar Hero 3. And my school at the time actually had a competition after school in one of the it was like one of the small, like it was like a band room or something. And if you paid, I think it was like $5 to enter the competition, you could go and play in this Guitar Hero competition. And the winner won, like, I don't know what the reward is, maybe like a $50 or $100 gift card. But you got a lot of clout in school. Like you looked like you were a freaking Mac Daddy pimp or something because you beat everybody in Guitar Hero. And so I found out this girl Stephanie was she was gonna play in this Guitar Hero tournament. So I made all these plans. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go play Guitar Hero 3 with this chick Stephanie, and I'm gonna practice at home, and she's gonna be so impressed that I freaking, how good I am at Guitar Hero that she's gonna fall in love with me. And I showed up and I was very awkward. Like, I said nothing to her. I said, just nothing at all. I didn't have anything to say as usual. And and then I'm like the first person, one of the first couple people to play Guitar Hero in this tournament, and they tripped me up because they had it on the Wii, and I was just totally baffled by, like, the Wii, controller in there, and the fricking, the guitar was I think was a different guitar than the one I had at home. I can't really remember because 'cause it's been a long time, but I sucked. Like, I freaking bombed so hard because I was so nervous, and the first, like, match of Guitar Hero, I got fully, like, kicked out of the damn tournament right in front of my crush, and then, like, I got sent home. Like, there was, like, no reason for me to stay. Um, so yeah, I just sucked, and, this game whooped my ass, and whoever I played against, I think it might have been her. I can't really remember if I played against the Stephanie girl, and she's the one who whooped my ass, but it was definitely I just remember being so embarrassed because, like, I just sucked at Guitar Hero, and I thought I was gonna come in clutch daddy and impress everybody in the room with my shredding skills, bro. Which didn't happen. But so this game, I've got some memories with this game. I mean, I played this a lot. Back in the day, my cousin used to come over my house and we'd play the two-player mode on this game all the freaking time and just sit there and jam. Um and I mean this was a good game and everybody was playing it. It was good times. Um Now around 2007, there was another game that came out and it really changed kind of the style of Guitar Hero and it changed just like the rhythm game industry because back then it was so big you could call it an industry and that game's name was Rock Band. And you might have heard of Rock Band before, but so Guitar Hero was the game series where you had the plastic controllers, and it was just guitars. You were just playing guitar music. Well, when Rock Band came out, very close to Guitar Hero 3, it split the player base in half because if you bought Rock Band, you could play with all the damn plastic instruments. Like there was a microphone you could plug in and you could sing the game, the songs from the game, and that would be like your controller is this little microphone. um, they had, of course, the guitar. They had their own version of like the guitar where you could just play, and strum the notes. And they also had a drum set. And the drum set was this crappy little plastic thing you had to put together, and it came in a box. And it was very, very expensive at the time. Like I can't remember the price, but it was probably like 200 or 300 bucks for the whole, set of Rock Band equipment. And, I remember that pulled a lot of people away from Guitar Hero, even though it was like at peak popularity. When Guitar Hero 3 came out, there were kids running around school like, Guitar Hero sucks. It's for babies. You gotta play Rock Band, bro. And yeah, it really, I mean, I remember that. Like, you had your Guitar Hero kids, which is what I was, and you had your Rock Band kids. And we'll talk about Rock Band a different day, because this is Guitar Hero. But I just want you to know, Rock Band back in 2007, 2008, peak of the Great Recession, that was, you know, prime competition. So that was a big deal back then. Uh, Now I mentioned already, if you only have the game and you don't have the plastic guitar, you can still play Guitar Hero 3. It works fine with the 360 remote. You probably won't be able to play on the harder difficulties with it because it uses essentially I did try it a little bit on a couple songs for the heck of it, but it uses the left triggers and excuse me, the left trigger, the right trigger, the left bumper, the right bumper, and then I believe the A button to actually activate the notes on the screen. So it can be very tricky and kind of a pain in the ass to play with the actual 360 remote. And I'm sure that goes for like the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3 remote as well, and any of those other systems. Um, but I want to talk to you about the guitar because that's going to be a focal point of this discussion. Um, so I already told you, this game was designed to be played with the guitar. I mean, back in the day, they bundled the guitar with the game, and it was more money. It was like I want to say it was close to like $100, US to get the guitar and the game together back in the day. Um, but I have one of the guitars here in front of me, and when Guitar Hero 3 came out, they came out with the Les Paul model of Guitar Hero guitars. And the Les Paul model is modeled after the real life Les Paul guitar, and so it has a very distinct look to it. And it was wireless, so fully wireless. So like I said, you could put two AA batteries into it. You could sync it up with your Xbox 360. You could play that damn thing all the way across the house. I mean, it works fine. Um, but there's a lot of very interesting features and some not so great on these guitars. So I'm gonna try my best to describe this stinking thing to you. So it's not the size of a real guitar, for starters. It's about, I mean, I'm spitballing here like hell, but I'd say it's probably a third or a fourth of the size. Yeah, probably a third of the size of a real guitar if you've seen one in like a pawn shop or something, or maybe you play guitar. I don't know. Um, but you basically hold it just like you would a normal guitar in real life, and your left hand is going to activate one of five buttons, or sometimes multiple at the same time. So you have a green button, a red button, a yellow button, a blue button, and then the hard pain in the ass orange button. Okay. And the orange button isn't really used unless you play on the more difficult settings like hard or expert mode. Um, but you're going to use your left hand to activate those buttons, and then you use your right hand to strum. So there's a little lever, where like the guitar strings would be, and you use your right hand to either move this lever up or down. And it works both ways. And so on the easier difficulties, if you prefer to strum it down, you can strum it down. If you prefer up, you can click it up with your, like your pointer finger and your middle finger. Um, but once you get to those harder difficulties, and we'll do a deep dive into this, you're gonna have to know when to strum up and when to strum down because it's gonna make a huge difference if you want to actually get good with this stupid plastic controller. Um, Now you also have a whammy on this model of guitar. You have a whammy bar, and so it's a little rod that sticks out just like a real life guitar. And if you hold some of the longer notes in the game and you keep tapping that whammy bar up and down and wiggling it, you'll get extra points, and it will actually change the sound of the note in the game as you play it a little bit. You've got your standard back button, your start button. I can pause the game, of course. And on this particular model, you do have a D-pad, and so you've got your Xbox dashboard button, so you can pull up your friends list and things like that. And then your D-pad can cycle through the menus and kind of help you type out a message or whatever you need to do. There are two little knobs on the guitar itself. Um, for a strap. So this game or this guitar, excuse me, did come with a strap. And it's fairly cheap looking and not very practical because for me, I have to play Guitar Hero sitting down or else I suck. Like there's that's just it. If I play standing up, I cannot hit the notes. I'm just not going to do it on those harder difficulties. But if you want to play with that, you certainly can if you have the strap. Um, Now, like I said, it does take AA batteries, and there is a lever on the back of the guitar, and if you pull that lever down and pull the like the neck of the guitar up, it will come out of the guitar. So for storage, this thing does separate into two pieces, which is very nice because these things are pretty big to store. And I mean, they're a pain in the ass to store. And I mean, as a kid, I had several Guitar Hero guitars I bought at flea markets for like $1 a piece, and they were laying in like the basement and up against the wall and stuff. And I mean, they just collect dust, if you're not careful. I mean, it's just clutter. So it's really nice to be able on this particular model that came out with the third game to where you can separate the guitar into those two pieces. Um, so yeah, that's the guitar. Essentially, you're gonna just hit the colored buttons that appear on the screen, and they're gonna be moving pretty fast depending on the difficulty. And then after you hit the button, when it enters the little crosshair at the bottom of the screen, you're going to hold that colored button down, and then use your right hand to strum to hit the note. Um, Now I will say on that space thing, I do definitely have a personal experience with having a hard time storing these because I had one of these guitars not that long ago just leaning against the wall for like a month because I didn't know where the hell to put this thing. I didn't know, where I could slide it to get it out of the way. I didn't have like a closet to put it in or anything. And one of my pet rabbits, because we do raise farm rabbits, um, he actually came and chewed on my whammy bar. And so, if you have pets and stuff, you're gonna want to be careful with this stuff because it can be hard to find nowadays and hard to replace. Um, and I guess that's where we'll go next, is that you know, I did purchase two of these guitars, okay? And so I purchased this Les Paul model, which came with Guitar Hero 3, and this is this year in 2024. And then I purchased the model that originally shipped with the next game, the fourth Guitar Hero game, which is called Guitar Hero World Tour. And now the World Tour guitar does have a little bit of improvements depending on who you ask. It definitely feels different than this guitar, and then it has other features that are specific to that next game in the series. Um, but I will say I think the Guitar Hero 3 guitar costed me on eBay, and this was the cheapest working model that I found when I went to order it. I believe this guitar, without the game, was $85. I want to say something like that. And then I think the Guitar Hero 4 guitar was 80 or 75, somewhere in there. So these damn things, these plastic guitars are expensive as hell. And all the plastic instruments are nowadays. All the 360 accessories are going up in price. And that's for all your, even your PS3s and stuff, I'm sure are going to go up in price. And it's just because this stuff's getting old and they're not making any more of it. So if you want to play this damn game, like I said, I recommend playing it with a guitar, but it's very, very hard to get one because they're expensive. And it's funny because, like I said, back in the day, you could get these for $1 and nobody wanted them. And, they were flooding Goodwills everywhere. They were at flea markets. I've even seen them in free bins at video game stores where people were like, just take these damn things. Like we don't want to store these anymore. This is horrible. Um, but yeah. So times have definitely changed because these are not cheap anymore. Now, if you're thinking about getting into this game, either, again, because you're coming back from your childhood, or maybe because you want to play it for the first time, one thing you're gonna need to know, and this might save you a lot of hassle. Um, Not all the guitars themselves are compatible with every game. Okay. So like a lot of your Rock Band guitars on the 360 are significantly cheaper. I've seen them go between, $35 and $45 online. as compared to like the $85 that the Guitar Hero controllers currently are in 2024. And I'm sure they'll keep going up, right? But the Rock Band controllers, if you have let's say like a controller from Rock Band 1, you can't use that on Guitar Hero 3. It doesn't work. Um so you want to be very careful about which plastic controller you're buying because it's going to affect which games you can play. Now, I will say, as if you're looking on eBay and you're doing Google fingers right now trying to find this damn thing, like I said, the one that shipped with Guitar Hero 3 is called the Les Paul. Okay, the Guitar Hero 3 Les Paul model. That, as far as I know, works with every Rock Band game and every Guitar Hero game on the 360. So if you buy this expensive one, you're good. Now, I also bought, like I said, the Guitar Hero World Tour controller that shipped with it, the guitar, and that one I believe is called the Red Sunburst controller that was made by Red Octane. And so if you type on eBay or Amazon or whatever, you're asking people, you could be like, "Hey, do you have the Guitar Hero World Tour Red Sunburst guitar?" And that one also works on, as far as I know, on all of the Rock Band games for the 360 and all of the Guitar Hero games. Um, excuse me. But yeah, so if you buy those two, you're good. But I cannot make promises for, if you're trying to use like Rock Band guitars on a Guitar Hero game, I don't know. I do know there's charts online. There's specific websites. If you get your Google fingers and you go online, there's dedicated charts where you can find which controllers work with which, rhythm games. So I would strongly, strongly recommend doing that before you go and order anything. Because, like I said, these are all very expensive. All the different variations of guitars, because there's different models for different systems as well. There's a lot of different variations, and then one other feature that the Guitar Hero 3 Les Paul has is that you can remove the faceplate of the guitar and swap it for a different, style. And so, just like you would remove the faceplate on an Xbox 360 console, an early model, like the first models that came out of the 360, you could kind of decorate them. You can kind of decorate your guitar if you buy the aftermarket faceplates, which I have the Guitar Hero Aerosmith faceplate on my Les Paul, and that came with it. And so, yeah, there's definitely a lot to know nowadays. And back then, all us kids knew this already because we were all over frickin', playing Rock Band and Guitar Hero and stuff. Bringing our stupid little plastic guitars over each other's houses and jamming. Um, and if you want to know what the craze was like, just from a historical perspective, it's kind of inappropriate, but there's a very funny, but like I said, inappropriate episode of South Park that came out in the early 2000s about Guitar Hero. And if you watch that episode, it'll definitely make you laugh and you will see what us kids were up to in the early 2000s playing that damn game. Because seriously, it was cooler back then to play the plastic guitar than it was to play a real guitar. And I'm not even exaggerating. Um, so yeah, the prices are crazy nowadays. And the other thing I wanted to mention, when you're looking for these guitars, I ordered the Guitar Hero 4 guitar, and that one was fine. That one plays good. The buttons are nice and tight. It's a little newer because it came out with the fourth game and not the third one. Everything worked good. When I got my Guitar Hero 3 Les Paul model, which is kind of the one that I really wanted, between the two, um, it actually had a red button, the second button on the controller, that did not work. And so I actually had to get a little, bit and driver set and unscrew all the little screws on my Guitar Hero controller, and I had to take it apart and fix it myself to get it to work. I took the little buttons out, I took the rubber grommet out myself, and I found a broken piece of plastic that was jammed under the actual button, and I took that out, and then I just put everything back together, and I screwed everything all together nice and tight, and then the button worked again. So I will say, keep in mind, these guitar controllers are getting old as hell. I mean, they probably had like 3 generations of freaking snot-nosed little farts, like, jamming on them. Not 3 generations, but you understand what I'm saying. Um, these kids beat these damn controllers to hell, and they used them and abused them. I mean, they probably weren't designed to last this long, and they were designed as a novelty, really. Um, so, definitely check the condition and almost if you can test your controllers some way, somehow, before you buy them, I definitely would recommend it. Um, Now there is another avenue you can take, and I didn't do this myself because I'm a collector. So I want to get all the Xbox 360 accessories and peripherals, and things like that I had when I was a kid. Um, but they are making on like Etsy.com and some of those like different, craft sites. There are reproduction Guitar Hero controllers that people have made, but the problem with that is that some of them are not very good quality. Like a lot of them are made like almost in like a wireframe style. So there's no actual like hard plastic piece you're holding in your hand under your arm. Like you're kind of holding like a weird looking like wireframe, like transparent or translucent like item. It's very weird. I mean, you can look into it and look it up if they're still selling them. But the other main problem with that is that these, of course, these reproduction guitars are going to be newer, so they might last longer if they're made correctly. Um, but these reproduction guitars are like over $100 US. And so it's actually cheaper at least in my experience, to buy the real deal guitar and just try to get one in good condition. So just, keep that in mind. That is an option, but you have to do your due diligence. And then I wanted to mention, there is I don't know if it's a game or if it's a mod, but there is, some kind of program out there that, again, I don't have experience with. Um, but it is called Clone Hero. And what a lot of people who played Guitar Hero 3 back in the day are doing is they are playing Clone Hero on the PC. And so a lot of the Guitar Hero content, if you're having troubles getting a hold of the actual game and the controller for the 360, and who knows, this might, I'm gonna leave this up for years and years, so you can check back on this, 10 years from now, and maybe the guitars will be like $300 a piece. If that's the case, a lot of the same songs and things, as far as I know, can be played on the PC on a program called Clone Hero. So that might be something to look into if you're interested. Um, so yeah, like I said, this game, it is a rhythm game. Okay, we'll dig into the actual game. Now that I blabbed your ear off about plastic instruments, and there's gonna be almost it's like a treadmill. Like the walking piece, the like the conveyor belt part of the treadmill on the screen. And this like treadmill piece is going to have several notes that are different colored, flying towards you. And when the notes hit the crosshair at the bottom of the screen, you're going to press the button and strum the guitar. And then if you did it at the right time, it's going to play the music track and the song's going to sound really good. But if you're missing these music notes, it's gonna make funky noises, it's gonna make just like ruin the whole song, and then you're gonna see the rock meter start to go down. And so in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, there is a rock meter. and you're always gonna start, when you play the song good, you're gonna be in the green. There's also a yellow, and when you start missing notes, you're gonna start, losing that rock meter and going into the yellow. And that's like, "Oh, crap, you gotta play better, you gotta start, picking it up a little bit, tightening up." Um, and then, of course, when you keep playing, like, worse and worse and worse, if you're missing a lot of notes on your, guitar, it's gonna go into the red. And when you see the red rock meter, the bar is in the red, that means you're about to fail the song, and you're gonna have to play the song all over again. And that's kind of how you fail in this game is by missing notes. And it really depends on what difficulty you're playing on and what your skill level is, of how often you're gonna fail in this game. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. And then also there is a bar that tracks like a score in this game. So this game does have, a lot of like there's a star system to where, depending on how well you played, you're gonna get anywhere between 1 to 5 stars, on that song, and then, there's also a numerical score. So if you're after points, if you like a lot of arcadey style of games, you can go back again and again and again, and get a higher score. Um, Now, this game does have the main feature of Guitar Hero 3, I would say, is the career mode. And the career mode is going to be very similar to like a story mode on a single player game. So there are cutscenes in between the chapters, and there are very, very surface level, stories and cutscenes with the characters of the game in them. But I'm telling you, it's nothing to write home about. I mean, it's very surface level. Um, Now there's 42 songs that they list as being in the career mode. And that doesn't sound like a lot. Which, I mean, it isn't in one way, but there's a lot of bonus songs, that can be purchased later on, in the game, or unlocked, and, we'll get into that here as we go. Um, Now, like I said, there's several difficulties, so you've got, easy, you've got medium, hard, and expert. And these difficulties in the game vary greatly. I mean greatly. And I've been playing this game off and on since it released, basically. And if I were to play it, someone who has played this game before in the past, and then I've played it quite a bit here in the last 6 months or so, um, the easy mode, you can blow through it easily. If you have any competency with a 360 remote or the guitar, you can 100% every single song in the game. I mean, and not miss a single note. I mean, it's very easy. I mean, you could play it if you were trying to play with your tongue on the freaking guitar strumming the notes. I mean, it's very, very simple. And I think that mode was really designed for the kids back in the day. There's the medium difficulty, which I did I did end up having to beat this game on medium, and we'll talk about that because there's a whole story to it. Um, but the medium setting is, if you have competency with a 360 remote or you played video games, you're gonna be able to finish this game on medium. Um, but really where the challenge on medium comes from is trying to 100% all the notes and the songs in the game. Um, because it's very easy when you get kind of complacent on, just uh kind of like the slower pace of the medium setting. It's very easy to miss like a single note in the whole song and get, let's say, like 99% instead of 100. So that's where you could find a lot of your challenge is really like challenging yourself to be perfect in the easier difficulties. Um, Now there is a hard mode, okay, after the medium, and hard is initially what I wanted to beat this on. Um, I I was pretty determined, and as I played, I got better and better and better, and I got to, the very end of the game on hard mode, and, I only had, I think it was 2 songs left to play on the hard difficulty, and no matter what I did, I could not beat these songs. I mean, there was, I'll share with you as we go, but these songs were just very, very tough, and they had some very unfair mechanics in them. And I played them over and over again, and I just got tired. And it really sucked because when I had decided that, okay, I want to switch difficulties, these 2 songs are too hard for me. You have to beat the entire game over again from scratch if you want to reset your difficulty. They're on Guitar Hero 3 specifically, which they thankfully have corrected in the next Guitar Hero entries. Um, excuse me. You're locked into whatever difficulty you choose. You're stuck with it. So you better be positive that you're able to play that whole game on whatever setting you choose because you're stuck with it unless you start the whole game over again. And that's exactly, like I said, what I had to do when I played it through in 2024. Um, Now, there is an expert difficulty, and that is gonna take dedication to play. Um, I can play, I will say, maybe 2/3 of the game on expert, with the Guitar Hero controller, the guitar. Um, I'm not bad at this game, but I'm not fantastic either. If you look up online, type in Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock, expert 100%, and you will find guys online who have, really mastered their craft and almost like devoted their life to playing Guitar Hero, and they can hit every freaking note flawlessly every single time on expert. And I just haven't gotten that good. I mean, I'll keep playing, but it's, this game's hard. And I will say, I wanted to tell you, Guitar Hero 3 is notorious for being the hardest Guitar Hero out there. So like I played Guitar Hero 2 on the 360 recently in the last couple months, and I could play every song on expert. At least the ones that I played. Um, and then I played Rock Band on the hardest difficulty, which I believe is expert as well, and I could beat every single song, no problem. Well, Guitar Hero 3 is just significantly more challenging than any of those other games for whatever reason. And it's not a bad thing. I don't have gripes with it. The only thing that pissed me off is that I couldn't, in the middle of struggling, they literally forced me to restart the game instead of just like, oh, you're having troubles with this song. Do you want to change your difficulty down to medium? I mean, that would have been a lot better, but, that wasn't an option, unfortunately. Um, Now, there is a character selection in this game. Um, there's several characters you can play as, so, there's anybody, ranging from, they have, like, a little Japanese anime girl you can play as, if you wanna be a weirdo. They have, like, this really kinda, like, chunky sumo wrestler guy with makeup on. They have, a guy who looks almost identical to Jimi Hendrix, and they even have some really weird, fun, humorous, characters that I'm not gonna spoil for you because that's part of playing the game and unlocking them. Um, Now I will say the graphics, because I already mentioned the 360. um 360 is definitely the definitive version to play this game. Um, but the graphics, I mean, for the time period, 2007, they were good. They were very good. Okay. Um, Looking back nowadays, they're not bad, but certain textures in this game look horrible. Like some things will look perfect and fine, and others look like garbage. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, if you start looking at in the background at some of the concerts while you're playing the game, you'll start seeing like some really funky stuff. And if you look at the main singer of your band, and if you look at the drummer, because you have like a drummer with you, a bass guitarist, and then a singer. If you look at a lot of the characters' faces, they have like some potato face going on. I mean, they look like horrible, just like horrible character models. And that was one thing that I was like, ugh. Like going back to it, it looked horrible. But I didn't mind, because like I said, I grew up with this game, so it doesn't bother me. Um, but the graphics are significantly better, at least than Guitar Hero 2, which is the Guitar Hero game that was before this. Um, Now the career mode is going to be split into 8 different chapters or venues, they call them. So what'll happen is you'll play a set of, let's say, like for example, like 5 different songs, and if you pass a certain number of those songs, um, you'll get to go to the next venue. And so there's 8 different locations you can play at, and then you beat the game. Okay. Um, and then, depending on what difficulty you're playing on, that's going to depend on how many songs you have to beat to move on to the next area. So I want to say for the most part on medium difficulty and easy, it's something like oh, you have to finish 4 out of these 5 songs to continue and unlock more songs. Um, but once you get to the harder difficulties, like hard mode and expert, you have to beat every single song in the game to progress. So just know that. Every song in the they call it the set list of it's like a master list of songs. Because you get to choose a little bit of the order you want to play the songs in, but you typically only unlock a handful of them, like 4 or 5 of them at a time. Um, Now, like I said, I mean, a lot of because of that scoring system, when you do beat this game, it does have quite a bit of replayability. So even though there's only those few, volts of songs in the game, um, you can be enticed to go back and play it because, you want to get a better score. And then there's also a money mechanic in the game that we could talk about here later. Um, Now, all the music in this game they are actual, like, licensed rock songs that you've probably heard on the radio or, in your parents' car or, in the mechanic shop. I mean, they're actual songs. So, I mean, just to throw out a few to you, like I said, I listened to classic rock as a kid, and this game's got, Slow Ride by Foghat. It's got Schools Out by Alice Cooper. Paranoid by Black Sabbath, even Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses. In this game, if you haven't seen the game case, speaking of Guns N' Roses, the famous guitarist Slash, is on the front of the game case. So Slash was all over the freaking marketing for this game. He was a huge selling point for Guitar Hero 3. Um, but even like I said, Metallica, they've even got One by Metallica. And that was one of the songs that I got stuck at when the game made me play the whole game over again from the beginning. The two games in case or the two songs, blah, that I got stuck on were One by Metallica, which is a hard ass song because of the guitar solo at the end of the song, and then the other one was a song you might have heard of called Raining Blood by Slayer. And if you've ever heard that metal song, it's a very fast paced, very challenging song to play. And I just couldn't beat those two songs. Um, but yeah, point being, there's a lot of really good music if you're a headbanger. I mean, you're gonna like a lot of classic rock and even a lot of modern rock. Um, Back in 2007, there was some, quote unquote, newer music in this game. So, a couple more songs for you. They had Knights of Sidonia by the band Muse. They had Cliffs of Dover by Eric Johnson, which is not a super new song. Um, they had a song by a band named Priestess called Lay Down, and they had a song called Miss Murder by a band called AFI. And a lot of those bands and songs as a kid, I had never heard of because I was raised by kind of boomer parents who listened to like the old 1970s rock, like the Eagles and, Steve Miller Band and stuff. And it was such a treat to play this game as a kid and as an adult, because it really expanded my horizons for music, and I found a lot of really good songs that I like even nowadays as an adult through playing this game. So you may have that experience if you don't know much about rock music or don't really care much. Um, Now I will say, I played this game, like I said, in 2007, 2008-ish, and I heard a song that it has this guitar riff to it that's very pronounced, and it's like something like that. I mean, I'm just farting around, but for probably 20 years of my life, I didn't know this is a song I heard from Guitar Hero 3, and I would think about that song from time to time, and I would go, "What the hell is the name of that song?" Like, I really like that song, and I don't know what the name of it is. And when I was playing through this game again this year, I actually found the name of the song. And that song was a song called Lay Down by Priestess. And sure enough, it was one of the newer songs that they put in Guitar Hero 3 at the time. So yeah, it was like I said, it was such a treat to go back and play this game and just have fun with it. Um, I did play the game, I mean, immediately before making this discussion. So I mean, I definitely have a recent taste of this game. Um, Now the game was had some negative input by reviewers back in the day, because when this game came out, from what I saw online, doing a little bit of research, it was getting negatively like blasted for having quote unquote walls of notes that were flooding the screen, and I can definitely attest to that. On those harder difficulties, like hard mode and especially expert, there are going to be so many colors of buttons on your damn screen to hit at once that you cannot even process where to put your fingers next. I mean, you have to know the damn notes are coming or you're never gonna hit them. I mean, it is like I said, I would say the difficulty level on those harder difficulties is absolutely obnoxious. I mean, it's fun. I have a blast playing on hard mode because, like I said, I can play every song but a couple of them on hard mode in this game. And when I got this game again and got the guitars in the mail and everything, I kind of forced my wife to play this with me a little bit, in the co-op mode. And I was able to play the rhythm guitar and the bass guitar in co-op on expert difficulty. And it was a fun challenge. I mean, I was trying very hard. Um, but it kept me on edge. I mean, when you're playing this game on those tough difficulties, you're not going to have time to think about the world and like what's going on in politics and none of that. Like you're going to be listening to the music, trying to, get in the rhythm of the song, and you're going to try to get them fingers flying as fast as you can on that little guitar. I mean, it's an all-encompassing experience. I mean, truly, if you're serious about playing this damn game, it can get pretty intense. Um, so just know that. Now there is a strategy that, like I said, when I transitioned from medium difficulty to hard and then expert on some of the songs, you're gonna have to learn some strategies yourself that the game is not going to tell you. So like one of those strategies that I ended up using quite a bit, even nowadays when I play the game, is a strategy I call double strumming. And so, a lot of the sections in the game, you're gonna have to hit notes very, very quickly, and a lot of them. So, the tempo, it'll go like and it'll just be like note after note, red, green, blue, blah, 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 blah. And, it's like a bunch of word salad to your eyeballs. Like you can't follow the damn notes. You can't hit them fast enough. And one thing that helps with a lot of those really fast notes is if you double strum. So, like I said, the guitar lever to actually register the notes, it will work if you strum up or down. So, it's personal preference. But if you get really good at this game, you can learn to strum up and down. So, you alternate the two. You go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and you can hit those notes twice as fast. And that will save your frickin' fingers and it'll help you beat those harder songs. So that got me through a lot of the harder difficulties. And there is a lot of things, little techniques as well in the game that the game will share with you. Like there are notes that I believe they call hammer-ons, where if you strum the guitar to hit the first note, you don't as long as you hit every note after that, because the notes look a little like sparkly as they're coming towards the screen, you can just hit the colored buttons and you don't have to actually strum with your other hand. Um, which is confusing, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to. But if you want to get really good at those harder difficulties, you definitely can by mastering those hammer-ons and then the double strumming. Um, Now, yeah, I guess I already talked about the difficulty. I do want to tell you because Guitar Hero 4, the fourth entry in the series, Guitar Hero World Tour, um, I played that immediately after I played Guitar Hero 3, and the difficulty difference is shocking. Because, like I said, I can play World Tour on the hardest difficulty, Expert, and, even Rock Band. And Guitar Hero 3, like I said, it's gonna give you a damn run for your money if you're, playing on those harder difficulties. It doesn't have to, if you're real, tired after work and you just want to throw on a quick little game on easy or whatever, and oh, excuse me, listen to the song, you can do that too. But I just want you guys to know who, want a challenge. It's a hell of a challenge. Like I would equate the playing the expert difficulty of Guitar Hero to like trying to play Dark Souls, for example. Um Now in the career mode, this might shock a lot of you guys, but there are boss battles, okay? And how that is going to work is that it's going to split the screen in half. And so, the size of your notes and everything coming at you is going to be about half the size. And typically you'll have, whatever boss you're battling, you will take turns playing the song with them and whoever gets the most points and doesn't suck wins. And, these boss battles can be challenging on the harder difficulties, but they're not impossible by any stretch. Um, but there are little pickups. If you hit the correct note at the right time, you'll see a little icon over some of your guitar notes, and that will actually give you, a weapon that you can use against um, your boss that you're fighting. And so like one of them is like an amp overload. So what you would do is, when you're playing the song, if you pick up one of these, weapons, you can tilt your guitar in the air and that will activate the weapon on your your enemy's screen, and the screen might flash a different color to like trip them up and make them suck more, or their difficulty might increase because there's different power-ups you can pick up, and they're not really weapons, they're like power-ups, and it can help you win the boss fight. um and I will say, because like I said, I already mentioned Slash is a big part of this game. The guitar player from Guns N' Roses. There are several celebrity appearances in this game. And I'm not gonna tell you any more of them because of, Slash is pretty obvious because he's on the front of the game case, but there are several, celebrities that, you would know in real life that are going to make appearances in this video game, and that is a very cool little dynamic that they added. Um, Now I did mention earlier, about the money mechanic that's in the game. And so, when you play through songs in the game, on the career mode or what have you, you're going to get money for successfully completing songs. So if you complete a song, and you do really well, the game might be like, here's $600. Or if you complete a chapter in the game and complete a whole set of songs, the game might say, here's $1,500. And, it depends on, what difficulty you're playing on and then how well you do playing, the song. If you sucked and barely scraped by, or if you hit like 100% of the notes. And this money can be used in one of the menus of the game. So there's a button that says a Guitar Center, and you click that, and it's actually like shopping at like Guitar Center, like the guitar store. If you've ever seen one of those, out in like a plaza in the city or something in real life. Um, but in the store, you can buy new guitars, which is, purely cosmetic. um, they all have different designs that will appear as you're on your character as you're playing through the song. You can buy different finishes for your guitars, so that basically changes the color of your guitar. You can buy bonus songs that you can play in the menus of the game. And then also like little extras like bonus videos. So there's like some behind the scenes, videos of like interviews with like Slash and things like that that you can watch. Um, and then keep in mind there is a full co-op mode in this game, so you can play through the career mode with another player. However, as far as I remember, you cannot play the boss fights if you have a second player with you, because they're already. I'm assuming because they're already taking up half of the screen with their music notes, so there's really nowhere to put the boss's music notes. So that's the only feature really you can't do in two player. There's a quick play mode if you don't want to hop into the career mode and actually like progress the story and watch the cutscenes. If you've already unlocked the song in the story mode, the career mode, it will then appear in your quick play menu, and that's a good way to just hop in real quick, play one song for 5 minutes, and then hop out of the game. Um, I mean, it's not that hard to play the career mode, so most of my, gameplay is spent in the actual, career mode. Um, Now there is a multiplayer, setting in the main menu, and I clicked on it to check it out because I was curious, and it seems like, there was a battle mode, similar to the boss fights in the game, for 2 people, in the same, on the same couch. Um, but I didn't play this at all because it really didn't interest me a whole lot. I mean, I like playing with my friends as opposed to like, trying to, fight them on the game and whatever. Um, but I did try to play. This was several weeks ago. I tried on a weekend to play Xbox Live on Guitar Hero 3 because if you connect to the internet, you can still log in. You can still hop into the menu and search for a match. And as far as I know, the game was totally dead. I'm not sure if they shut down the servers for the game. I mean, it didn't seem like it because it still let me search for a match and everything. So like maybe in 2024, if you and a buddy bought the game together, you might be able to play with each other. But aside from that, you're not going to be finding random people just, on this on like a Friday night. If you're interested in playing Xbox Live. Um, Now, one thing you might want to utilize as you get better at this game is the training mode. Because there is a practice mode, and even when you fail a song or if you hit the start button, you can select the practice option, And a lot of those sections, if they're giving you trouble, like a certain guitar solo or a certain intro to a song, you can practice just that part of the song and get really good at it so that way you can complete the full song. And it's really cool because it gives you control over the speed that the notes are coming towards the screen. So if it's going too fast for you, you can slow that speed down and figure out like what the actual buttons are and what the spacing is. That way you can get better. Um, this game overall was a very short game. I mean, I don't think I beat it in one sitting quite, but you definitely could. Um, the game on online, it seemed like it was listed as about 8.5 hours long, and I'm not sure, what difficulty setting those people were playing on. What I would almost say, I mean, I'm spitballing here because I don't know, but when I played through it, it felt like maybe like 6 hours, max. I mean, it did not feel like a very long game at all. Um, but yeah, you can easily beat it in one sitting if you select the appropriate difficulty where you're not failing a bunch. Um, in this game, like I already said, just to reiterate, it is very easy to finish to run through, but this game is very hard to master. I mean, the people who are playing everything flawlessly on expert, they've sunk hours and hours into this game, I'm sure. But I mean, I am thankful that it does have so much replayability because especially if you have a time crunch, like I said, if you have a lunch break and you're like working from home, or if you work a 12-hour shift and all you have time for is, 20 minutes of Xbox and slam down some dinner and run to bed, you can at least hop on here and run through a couple songs and listen to some music and have some fun. Um, and then this game, any of the Guitar Hero or the rhythm games are great party games. People love to play these with friends. I would love to play this with a lot of my friends if they, come over or we hang out or whatever. It is a really fun game to play with other people. And because the game lets you select different difficulty settings, it can be fun for everybody, even if you play with like your kid cousin or your kid brother. Um, but I guess overall, would I recommend this game? Abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely, dude. If you have not played a Guitar Hero game and you're interested in, hearing rock music and just like trying some weird peripheral for the 360, some weird accessory, yeah, dude, get in on this damn thing. I mean, even if you bought like a cheaper version of the game, like on the Wii or the PlayStation 2, you'd probably still have a good time if you're not gonna like sink hours into this. I mean, I knew I was gonna sink some pretty decent time into this game when I bought it again. That's why I bought the expensive controllers because I knew I wanted it. You know, I had it as a kid, I grew up with it, and I knew I was gonna love this game coming back to it. And yeah, so just I guess, grab whoever you have in your household, whether it's a dad, a mom, a freaking, kid brother, a girlfriend, whatever, and play this damn game. And do yourself a favor, if you have a second person that's playing this game, um, get 2 controllers. You don't wanna have 1 person. I've made that mistake in the past trying to be a cheap bastard. You don't wanna have 1 person sitting there, like, on the couch playing with the controller being like, I'm bored." You wanna have both people with the damn strap, with the little plastic guitar jamming out. You want that experience with your buddies. Um and so, that would be my piece of advice to you. Because you're never y I mean, I'm serious, you're never gonna be, you know, I mean, really, really good at this game if you're playing with the controller. I mean, it's very, very unlikely. I mean, it's the button placement and everything is so strange. Yeah, I just don't think it's smart business. Um, I only know one person who likes to play this game with the controller, the actual 360 remote, and that's my wife, and she plays on the easier difficulties. So, um, now if you do like this game, if you already know, yeah, I'm committed, like I'm gonna be into Guitar Hero 3, or maybe you already played this game to death and you're just listening to this for like nostalgia. There's plenty of sequels and prequels to this game. So, there's if you want more of this, it's out there. There's Guitar Hero 1 for the PlayStation 2. There's Guitar Hero 2 for the 360 and a variety of consoles. Guitar Hero World Tour, which you can even play with the drumsticks and the drum set. Guitar Hero 5, which I've never played, but I'm going to soon, hopefully. There's a variety of spin-off games like Guitar Hero Rocks the 80s. I think there's a spin-off game on the 360, like Warriors of Rock or something. Um, there's Clone Hero, like I told you earlier, the PC program where you can play a lot of these Guitar Hero songs. Rock Band 1, Rock Band 2, Rock Band 3. I think there might even be a Rock Band 4. There's a really weird Guitar Hero game that I've never played called Guitar Hero Live. And for that one, I think you need a new guitar because I think they redesigned the guitar. Band Hero, they came out with a freaking like a band game, kind of mimicking Guitar Hero. And there's just many, many more generic, guitar games that are like Guitar Hero. Um, I have one in my game collection. I mean, I would freaking love to do some kind of like video on it. It's called Power Gig Rise of the Six String. And that is seriously the worst rhythm game and piece of trash like video game I've ever played ever. Like ever. Like but it was so pleasant to play because that particular game, just because I brought it up, um, it sucked. Like it was so low quality. I was laughing the entire time I was playing it. It was good for $5 or whatever I paid for it, $3 because sometimes it's cool to have fun. Sometimes it's a good thing to laugh at things and not everything has to be Guitar Hero or like, a triple A game. But now I just wrapping up, I do have a couple little complaints I want to talk about. The first is that like I said, the game's divided the career mode into 8 different chapters. And I wasn't a fan that the 8th chapter of the game is very hell themed. So there's a lot of like demonic references, and there's a lot of references to Satan. And I mean, you guys, that might not bother you. I get it, but for my personal beliefs and my faith, and I'm a Christian, and I don't like to surround myself with anything even remotely close to that. And I just didn't. I mean, it put like a if and put like a little if, you know, taste when I was playing through that section of the game, so that I could get to the end. So I could have probably personally done without the satanic stuff at the end of the game. Like there's like these stripper dancers that are like dancing while you're playing guitar, and they have like devil horns, I think, and they're supposed to be like devil women. And I don't know. I mean, I just didn't like it. It put a bad taste in my mouth. Um, and then the other thing I wanted to tell you is that, you know, as far as like the physical aspects of playing the plastic guitars, if you're going to be playing on those harder difficulties or playing for long periods of time, your wrist and your forearm are going to hurt like hell. Because when you're hitting those like quote unquote wall of notes, you're gonna be going with your guitar controller, and it makes it very hard to play because after like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, which could be like 4 or 5 songs, my forearm was like swollen and hurting, and my wrist, like my palm and my wrist were just like hurting like hell and cramping. And, seriously, like, I mean, I looked at forums online of people like, "Oh, dude, like, I wanna play Guitar Hero because I love the game, but every time I play on Expert, my damn hand cramps and I'm in pain." And it was a whole forum of people talking about like, "Damn, this game hurts to play." And it certainly can. Like, I mean, I like playing this game almost in, like, 20-minute increments, and then I like setting it down. Because when I got the game again, I was excited, and my wife and I played for, like, 6 hours straight, and, uh and the next day, I woke up, and I thought I, like, pinched a nerve or, like, broke my hand or, like, something because, like, my entire arm and hand were swollen. Because, like I said, I played on expert the whole night, and I just forced myself through it. I was like, I'll go to bed, it'll be fine in the morning." And that damn thing, I mean, you might need like a damn ice pack to play this game on the harder difficulties. I mean, that's the one thing about playing this game straight through is that you're gonna have hand pain and forearm pain especially if you're jamming on them harder difficulties. At least in my experience. Um Now I guess the last thing that I really have a complaint about is especially, I mean, it's all models of the guitars, the plastic guitar controllers, but especially the Les Paul model for the Guitar Hero 3 game. Um, the button clicking noise is pretty obnoxious. Like, I don't know if the microphone will pick this up because I've got it here, but listen, listen. Do you hear any of that? I don't know if you can even hear any of this clicky clicky. Maybe not. You guys might not be able to hear it on the mic, but yeah, trust me on this. All of the buttons on the guitar are super duper clicky and clacky and one night I wanted to talk to my friends that I hadn't heard from in years, and I hopped in a Xbox party with them, and I was talking to them while I was playing Guitar Hero, and everybody through my microphone could hear the clicking of the guitar controller. And everybody was like, "Shut that off, like, meh, can you play a different game?" And I don't blame them because, yeah, it's obnoxious. I mean, like, I know I woke my wife up one night because I snuck downstairs one early morning and, I fired up Guitar Hero and I started clicking on the buttons and I woke my wife up, and she was sleeping in a different room. And, so the buttons are very clicky and clacky, and if you live in, like, a studio apartment or something, I mean, that could be a problem, or if you live with roommates or something. So just be aware of that. But yeah, if you want something new, if you missed out on the rhythm game phase, um, you know, hop on Guitar Hero 3. I think this is probably where Guitar Hero peaked is the series. I think this was like the pinnacle of the series. It had some of the best music on there. The graphics were still pretty good. Starting to come around on the 360 and be look pretty presentable. And, you don't have to have played the other Guitar Hero games to play this one. So this is where, like, if any of my friends were listening to this, I would recommend that Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock, the 360 version, is where you started. Because I think for just a good taste testing and a sample platter, this game has it all. I mean, it's a wonderful little music game. Very easy to play after work. You could tailor the difficulty to your skill level. But be warned, if you start the game on hard or expert, I'm just saying one more time, about halfway through that game, the difficulty on the songs is going to spike tremendously. It is like playing an entirely different game in the second half of that game because the difficulty is so hard. Um, well, yeah, fun game, something different other than running around on Halo killing grunts, shooting people, and you know, get the damn guitar controller and keep it nice. Try to find one in good condition. Try not to give an arm and a leg for it, and have fun. Play it with other people because that's I have some great memories playing this game with other people. and the other Guitar Hero games. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode because I had fun playing it. Like I'm literally gonna go back to playing Guitar Hero right when I end this audio show. I'm literally sitting at the freaking screen to play Paranoid by Black Sabbath. um, but yeah, thank you for your time and God bless you and your family. Have a great day.